Morning, guys. See, Jamesfreddys put up a good video, touched on an interesting subject about stripping cars down and what's the best way to go. Like Jeff, I don't really care for the paint stripper. The smell is pretty bad, and if you don't have, it's almost something you do outdoors. The ventilation issues and all of that, and got the little kiddos in here with me today. Back, I'd say early 90s, there was GM, Ford, Dodge, all the paint jobs was falling off their trucks and some of their cars. They had major DLAM problems. Somebody was explaining it, I think it was VW Darren was explaining that they were letting their primer cure too much before the final paint job. It was explained to me that they weren't putting enough base coat on, and the UV rays were going through the paint job into the primer, oxidizing the surface of the primer, and the primer was throwing them off that way. I'm not sure which was which, but back then we did a lot of complete paint strips to the point where we were considering putting in a media blasting booth, a whole separate building to do them, but we you know, obviously that wasn't going to be a forever thing, thankfully, because that was horrible work. The shop was just covered in dust all the time. We'd actually go in there on weekends, open up the doors on each side of the shop on a windy day, and we'd start at one end of the shop with a large piece of fuel line mounted on a stick and with air gun attachments set up on it, and we'd get it up, you know, way up into the ceiling where the lights are and everything, and just blow everything out. Start at one end and go to the other. Made a huge mess. It was like I said, we weren't paint stripping. We were sanding the paint off. Depending on how bad it was with these cars, we'd you know, you could blow half the paint job off with an air gun, but there was always something left. And others it was more spotty, but you still ended up having to strip the whole car. Usually from the belt line or the moldings up, the lower part would usually feather out, and we could just sand that. But usually it was down to bare steel. We actually had a guy that could strip a full-size van in a day, have it down to 150 steel. I'd seal it, base it, and clear it. That's how we'd paint them. There was no body work, it was just a paint issue. But like Jamesfreddys was saying, our best method was this. Hold on. We would use we'd use an old buffing machine, and this has the Velcro pad on it now, but 3M, you can get these, what is it, 05568, it's a flat pad. We used to get this paper and sticky back and just put it on there, and we'd basically grind that paint job off. I didn't realize I still had this pad. It's deteriorated. It's pretty much garbage. I gotta throw this away. But some of these cars, like, or an older car that has a lot of paint jobs on it that you want to just rip off real quick, I'd actually start with 36. And without going into the steel, I didn't want to gouge the steel up with 36, but you just kind of take the first few layers of paint off if you're careful. Like Jeff was saying, makes a huge mess. Cover up, mask, all that stuff. We could get into the steel a little bit with this, but I'd still leave a touch of the primer down, and then finish off with the DA. And it's a pretty fast, quick method. We didn't like this paint strippers for the reason that it could drip down into areas where you can't get to and cause corrosion issues down the road. But we got to the point where we could get a couple cars a day down to steel, ready to paint, or a full-size van. We got a lot of trucks, conversion vans with multiple stripe colors and everything. I'd get them in bare steel with a Polaroid, make it look like this again. But that's how we do it. It's after years of figuring out the quickest, best way. This is pretty much what worked for us. Alright, you gotta put the rest of my Halloween stuff away and keep an eye on these little noisemakers. See you guys. You guys going for a ride?
Yeah.
You gonna ride the dirt bike?
Yeah.
Yeah? You gonna go fast?
Yeah.
Alright. Vroom.